The Candy Grove Trickster. In the heart of a deep, dark forest where the trees whispered secrets and the moonlight danced through the leaves, lived a group of friends who were as different as night and day. But that's what made their friendship so special. There was Roger the platypus, with his smooth fur and curious beak, always ready for an adventure. His best friend was a slow but wise tortoise named Toby. Toby was the thinker of the group, often coming up with clever plans that saved the day. Then there was Officer Crumple, the local policeman who kept the peace in the forest by making sure no one jumped on cars, which was surprisingly a common problem. Officer Crumple was stern but kind. The youngest of the group was Billy, a 6-year-old boy with blonde hair and green eyes that sparkled like emeralds. Billy had a special gift. He could control ice with just the flick of his wrist. And finally, there was Fluffy Puff, the fluffiest ant you'd ever seen who smelled like a candy shop. Fluffy Puff loved sweets more than anything in the world and was always finding new treats in the forest. One day, the friends decided to explore a part of the forest they'd never been to before, a place known as the Candy Grove. It was said that the trees grew lollipops instead of leaves, and the rivers flowed with chocolate syrup. But there was also a warning. Deep in the grove lived a mischievous creature who loved to play tricks on unsuspecting visitors. As they made their way through the thick leaves, the air began to smell sweeter and sweeter, until finally they stepped into a clearing. There, before their eyes, was the Candy Grove. The trees sparkled with colorful candies, and the ground was soft with marshmallow grass. Billy's eyes lit up, and Fluffy Puff buzzed with excitement. "This place is amazing!" Billy exclaimed, reaching out to touch a lollipop leaf. It was as big as his hand and tasted like strawberry lemonade. "But remember the warning," Toby said, his eyes narrowing as he looked around. "We must be careful. Not everything here is as sweet as it seems." Just then, a rustling sound came from the bushes. Out popped a strange creature, a mix of a rabbit and a fox, with a sly grin on its face. "Well, hey there. Welcome to my grove," it said, hopping closer. "I'm Trickster, the guardian of this place. Are you here to play a game?" Roger, always up for a challenge, grinned back. "What kind of game?" "Oh, yeah, a treasure hunt, actually," Trickster said with a twinkle in its eye. "Yeah, I've hidden a golden candy somewhere in the grove, so if you find it, it's yours to keep. But, if you don't, let's just say you might find yourself in a sticky situation, okay?" The friends huddled together. "I don't trust him," Toby whispered. "It sounds too easy."
"But it sounds like fun!"
Fluffy Puff buzzed.
"And I bet the golden candy tastes amazing!"
Billy was hesitant, but the idea of finding treasure was too exciting to pass up. "Let's do it," he said, his green eyes gleaming. The friends set off searching high and low for the golden candy. They looked under candy rocks, inside chocolate caves, and even climbed the lollipop trees. But no matter where they searched, they couldn't find it. As they searched, Trickster followed them, offering hints that led to dead ends and making sneaky comments that only made them more determined to find the treasure. Finally, after hours of searching, they stumbled upon a giant gingerbread house. It was covered in icing and gumdrops, and sitting on the doorstep was a golden candy wrapped in shiny foil.
"We found it!"
Fluffy Puff cheered, zooming toward the candy. But just as Fluffy Puff reached out to grab it, the ground beneath them began to shake. The gingerbread house started to crumble, and suddenly, the friends were trapped inside a cage made of sticky caramel. Trickster appeared, laughing. "Oh, did you really think it would be that easy? Oh, the golden candy was just a trick. And now you're stuck in my caramel cage, and there's no way out." Billy's heart raced. He didn't know what to do. Then he remembered his ice powers. "I can freeze the caramel!" he shouted. Billy concentrated, and with a wave of his hand, the caramel cage began to freeze. But it wasn't enough. The caramel was too thick, and they were still trapped. Oh, that won't work, little boy. You're just not strong enough. Toby, who had been quiet this whole time, suddenly spoke up.
You're right. Billy can't do it alone. But together, we can. Roger, Fluffy Puff, use your strength to break the caramel once it's frozen. Officer Crumple, get ready to catch Trickster when we're free.
Billy nodded, his confidence growing. He focused all his energy, and the caramel froze solid. Roger and Fluffy Puff pushed with all their might, and the cage began to crack. With a final shove, the caramel shattered, and they were free. Officer Crumple blew his whistle, and Trickster tried to run. But Roger and Fluffy Puff were too quick. They caught Trickster and tied him up with a licorice rope. Trickster struggled in the licorice rope, looking defeated. "Oh, I just wanted to have some fun," he mumbled.
Playing tricks isn't fun when it hurts others,
Toby said, shaking his head.
You tried to cheat us, but in the end it backfired. Now you're the one who's trapped.
Trickster's ears drooped. I guess I was wrong. Billy stepped forward, his green eyes softening. Everyone makes mistakes, but it's important to put others first. If you had been kind and played fair, we could have all had fun together. Trickster nodded slowly. Yeah, I'm sorry. I promise to be better. The friends untied Trickster, and to their surprise, the mischievous creature smiled. This time, genuinely. Hey, thanks for giving me a second chance. From now on, I'll use my tricks for good, not for harm. Promise. The friends left the Candy Grove knowing they had learned an important lesson. It's always better to work together and be kind, rather than trying to cheat or trick others. As they walked back through the forest, the moonlight shining down on them, they knew they would have many more adventures together. Because true friendship is the sweetest treasure of all.